Hi, it's Sandra here from Create in Spain. I hope you're having a good day. I have a fascination with mechanical cards, and there is a design that's been around for hundreds of years, and it's a disappearing image card or a changing image card. And what it is something like this, where you have a tab and you rotate it and you get a changing of the image from one to another. Now this is just a very simple drawn one that I've done. I have made an SVG file which I will share. I thought when I started this it was going to be relatively easy to work out the mechanics of it. I was wrong about that, it wasn't. But I managed it in the end. I must have made about 20 prototypes, I think, before I actually got to the stage where it would work consistently. Working wasn't too much of a problem, but getting it to work consistently was. And it wasn't actually the file that was causing the problem, it's the material that it's made of. Now this one works brilliantly, and it is a packing card. I guess it's about the same thickness as you would have from a cereal box. So it's not overly flexible, it's not overly heavy, it's nice and smooth, and you do want to use a smooth card for this. And that works fine. I've done other prototypes where I've used thicker card, thinner card, and there has been a problem. With this one, the top is quite thin and it doesn't stay flush. And yeah, it wasn't as dependable as I'd like. It's working now, but when I was trying to make a video on it last night, it didn't want to know. Anyhow, I have also come up with another way of doing this if you don't have card of the requisite thickness and smoothness. And this is this stuff, which is like a document folder, which I've got cut up. What I did for this was I put the document folder on my mat. I used 3 strips of wide double-sided sticky tape so that I have the area covered. And then I took the covering off the tape and I applied, in this particular case it's a very, very thin card or a thick paper, it's one or the other, and then I put it to my cutting machine and I cut it all in one go. Alright, so it wasn't a case of sticking a bit onto this and sticking a bit onto that, it was cut as it was made to be. So that's the finished cut and it worked fine. And I did a very similar technique with this one, only at the time I hadn't thought of sending it to the cutter in one go, and I'd applied glue to the back and cut the pieces out separately. I needn't have done that, obviously. So how do these cards go together? And why did I put this on the back? Well, in order to put these together, the pieces have to be bent very slightly. And if you're using a straightforward card on something of this size, it's quite difficult not to put a crease in the card, and you do not want creases in the card, you really don't. So having the plastic on the back really does stop you from putting creases into the card inadvertently, and that's a very handy thing. The other thing is that because this is nice and smooth, and it's got traces of talc on here, because the other thing that you can do is you can just get a little bit of talc and rub it over the back like that, and that will help things to slide and move. It's one of those cards that needs working in a little bit before you give it to someone. So you take this piece and you turn it over so that there's a smile line, and you take this piece and turn it over so the tongue is going to poke out of the right side, and you put that tongue through the smile like so. Okay, so you can move this to that side, it's quite easy, and you'll see that the hole in the middle lines up if you've got it in the correct place. Now I've moved it so this is to the right, and there is about 1 inch of the smile line still showing there, and I've done that for a reason. When you pick one of these pieces up, if you've got it in that position, you'll be able to see the slot that it goes into. And I don't know if you can actually see it because of the pattern on the card, but there is a slot there. And all you do is you bend it from the back, not from this bit. You don't want to bend those tabs, and just put it into the slot. And as you go round, you'll be able to do exactly the same with all the others. It does it very, very easily. It's not difficult at all. There we are. And it will now lie flat. And you end up with something akin to a star. Now, don't try to operate the card yet. Turn it over, and you'll see you've got another sort of star there. Now, do wipe off any talc if you've put talc on it. And in the file, I have done these little rings. Again, cut these out so you've got double-sided tape on one side. I need to take my glasses off to see which side's got the tape on. Peel off the backing and put that over so that you can still see the hole in the middle. On the front side, well actually from the back side, you need to put in a brad. Now I have a mini brad here, and I've cut the legs probably in about half because I didn't want very long legs on it. And you pop that through the centre. You could make a paper brad or a cardboard brad yourself, but I figured a card that's going to move a lot probably needs to have a metal brad. And whoops, before I do that, I need to pop on basically a washer. So because I've trimmed the legs off of my brad, I need to make that hole a little bigger. So I'm just going to get a tool that will allow me to do that. I've got two of them there, don't want two. So there we are. Pop that over there. And then open out the legs. Now, to save my nails from damage, I tend to use a tool to do that. I don't really want to split my nails open my brow, thanks very much. There we go. And flatten it down. Now I have included a circle without a dot so that that can go over the top, and you'd join that, or you'd stick it on, I should say, either with some double-sided foam tape or with a glue dot or with silicone glue that you can raise up a bit, or hot glue, whichever. If you want to go near your card with hot glue, if you're confident enough to do that, then that's fine, but if you're not, don't. And now with a bit of working, oh, it worked first time, yay. You see you get the two different patterns. If you turn it right the way down, it disappears, and then you get your other pattern when you turn it in that direction. Now I would recommend making this as is and then applying it to the front of a card, because if it goes wrong, you've only wrecked this. If you do it on the front of a card directly, you've ruined the whole card and you waste more card. So that's how to do it. Very, very easy to put together. And the file is actually done so that both the right sides are facing upwards, and it does make a difference. If I can show you a scrap one here, you can see it more easily. So here we have the angle going, whoops, out of focus. Here we have the angle going up, and on this one we have the angle going downward to the right and to the left. Okay, so they interlock when they're put together. So the other way of doing this, apart from using different types of papers and things of that nature, you could actually stamp your patterns on your pieces before you construct it. If you're going to do that, try and make sure you have a design that perhaps has a central point that could be blank. So have things around it, but don't have anything on the middle, because that can't change. That is the one bit which stays the same. So you then just put on your blanking piece and then you can have your card all ready to go. I would suggest using glue dots to glue it onto the front of the card so you don't get any glue in the way where it shouldn't be, or possibly small pieces of double-sided foam tape so that it is raised up from the card surface. And I think you'll enjoy that. And I think that if you use the plastic, you'll have far more success than if you just use card. Now, because it's an SVG file, you can alter the size. I wouldn't advise going smaller than this. I think you'll find it difficult to put together and it possibly won't work. If you go larger, it does make them easier to go together and they seem to be more inclined to work for some strange reason. I guess it's tolerances on the thickness of the card. But there you go, that's how it's made. I hope you give it a go, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how you get on in the comments below. Take care now, bye bye.